I'm Gina Mizell alongside beat partner Connor Letourneau. We are in Corvallis, but on Saturday we will be in paradise in Hawaii, where Oregon State will play its second game of the 2014 season against Hawaii in Honolulu. And we sat here after the Portland State game saying how bad Hawaii was, one of the worst teams in FBS. You might have said that Portland State could beat Hawaii. That might have happened. Hawaii nearly pulled a huge upset late Saturday night. They lose to Washington 17-16. Of course, Washington has a new coach in Chris Peterson. They were not playing with starting quarterback Skylar Miles. And again, it's too early to make sweeping judgments about any team, about Washington, about Hawaii, about Oregon State. But what does that game played on Saturday night, how does that change this Saturday's matchup against the Beavers?
Well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily change anything except for the fact that Oregon State is going into this game supremely aware that Hawaii is potentially capable of pulling off an upset. They're more talented than their 1-11 record last year might suggest. And one thing we touched upon a moment ago is that Iosefa, the star running back, senior running back, missed most of last year with a foot injury. When he came back the last 4 or 5 games for them, really opened up their entire offense. And even though they weren't really able to win very many games, he's going to be a real difference maker in this game. He was great against Washington. I expect the same on Saturday. So that's really a big focus for Oregon State.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Riley, even as early as Sunday evening doing his teleconference, was already talking about the physicality of Hawaii and how impressed that he was. And obviously it's a home game. It's going to be a long week of travel for the Beavers. They're going to leave on Wednesday following practice. They're going to practice at Aloha Stadium on Thursday. They're going to practice or do a walkthrough at their hotel on Friday, but still kind of a wonky schedule for the Beavers. But does it help that maybe they played in the Hawaii Bowl just a few months ago, and at least most of these guys are familiar with the long trip and with, you know, the time change and all that kind of stuff?
It can't hurt, especially given the fact that it is paradise and it's very easy to lose focus in a place like that. So the fact that they've gone there, they've had success, and they know what it takes to win there, can't hurt. I don't put a ton of stock in it, but it's a positive.
Yeah, and that should have actually some good support with a good handful of players from Hawaii on this roster, and because of that, they've sort of built up a fan base here with that group. But okay, so you've talked about the running game, you've talked about the physicality of the defense. What do you see as an early major key for this game based on what we've seen out of the Beavers so far this season and based on what we've seen out of Hawaii so far this season?
Well, I kind of touched upon it, but I think the thing they need to do in the first quarter is really prove that they can stop the run. If they can stop the run and stuff those guys up the middle, then Hawaii is going to have to lean on their passing game, which isn't as accomplished as their run game. They have a relatively unproven quarterback who can pass the ball, but he's no Sean Mannion. And so I think that's really going to be the most important thing that we watch early on in this game.
Sounds cliche, but stop the run and maybe run the football in the red zone, perhaps, right? On offense?
Maybe convert some red zone a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Well, again, we will be in Hawaii. We'll have a whole crew out there, photo, video, writers, the whole 9 yards. So keep it right here on OregonLive.com. For Connor Letourneau, I'm Gina Mizell. We'll catch you next time, perhaps in Hawaii.